JJ McCarthy or Cade McNamara? Which would you rather have as your starting quarterback entering the 2022 season? Tell me down below. This is a topic that is being debated amongst many Michigan football circles, and today I just hope to just kind of educate and just bring up the strengths and weaknesses and just my thoughts and the facts out there about both of these quarterbacks. And at the end, you, whether you're a Michigan fan or just curious about who you think is better, can make a decision. We'll start off with just talking in general about both of these guys, their backgrounds, what they did this past season, and then talk about them individually for a few minutes each. If you're new to this channel, give me a like, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can see when we go live and upload a new video, and comment your thoughts down below. Again, who would you rather have as your starting QB entering the 2022 season? Tell me down below, and let's get into it. This past season for Michigan was very special, to say the least. Michigan went 12-2, earning their only third 12-win season in school history. They won the Big Ten for the first time since 2004, and for the first time outright since 2003. Michigan also beat Ohio State for the first time since 2011, and beat a top 10 Ohio State team for the first time since 2003. This was mainly on the back and under the leadership of quarterback Cade McNamara, who was Michigan's starter for the entirety of this past season, and to be honest with you, he deserved it. Despite not being an elite quarterback by any means, despite him making some mistakes when it came to accuracy and to just being a game manager, which is not, again, you don't always want that. He was still a good quarterback. He did his job. He didn't make turnovers. He occasionally improvised and honestly did some things that previous Harbaugh quarterbacks couldn't do, which is come from behind and win. And against teams like Nebraska and Penn State on the road, which is pretty remarkable. It speaks to what I think is his elite leadership. And he just deserved the starting job. There's not really much else to say. There was a reason why he was the starting quarterback. And from the beginning of the year, I actually did doubt him before the game started in what I would call season prep. There's not even really an off season anymore with the transfer portal and recruiting. But before the games began in about the summer, spring, I was an advocate for Alan Bowman, and it turns out that was an idiotic move, whatever. And I originally criticized even the staff for having McNamara be the starter. And that's one thing I want to leave here as a fact, is the facts are the staff knows better than I do. They know better than the majority of you do, unless you used to work in football, college football extensively, and just know what you're doing to that degree. There's a reason these guys, the assistant coaches, the coordinators, and the head coaches get paid hundreds of thousands to $1 million and millions of dollars a year to do what they do. It's because they know what they're talking about. They know what they're talking about. They're not just talking heads or analysts outside like I am or others are. They're legit guys inside their own programs. They know a lot more than we do and a lot more than we'll likely ever know to a certain degree. So I just want to lay that out there. But McNamara, yeah, he earned the job, but unexpected to a lot of us, McCarthy had plenty of playing time. In fact, his red shirt was burned. He didn't even get a red shirt year, so he is going to be entering this upcoming season not as a redshirt freshman, but a sophomore. McCarthy was used a lot on a lot of designed run plays. He was even put in purposely stressful situations where he had to throw or convert third downs, and it was, to me, just fascinating, really. And at the beginning, it's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? We have a starting QB for a reason. But at the end of the day, it was actually ingenious. At least I thought it was. Because of McCarthy's different skill set from McNamara, which is what makes this battle for the starter so intriguing, defenses had to prep differently. They had to spend time on McCarthy because, oh wait, McCarthy can run and throw. He can run and throw. And to be honest with you, when you have a starting QB who he can't run, but the backup can, and you occasionally put the backup in, you have to treat the backup as a serious threat. And McCarthy was a serious threat, and I guarantee you he helped confuse defenses. The offensive play all around this year was phenomenal, not just at the QB position, but just all around. It was the best offense that Harbaugh has had. Good O-line play, good running back play, good tight end play, good wide receiver play for how few we threw the ball. It was great. And having these two quarterbacks, share playing time really benefited us. But McNamara being the starter and JJ being the backup, that combination specifically benefited us because it helped McCarthy learn. It also exposed some of his downsides along with his upsides, kind of showed us who he is as a quarterback, but also because McNamara is the starter, yes, it did limit some of our explosiveness, but we also, as a team, Michigan did not make nearly as many turnovers or mistakes in general as they had in the past. So that's just kind of the big picture preview of the quarterback battle, what these two did last year, and how both of them are good quarterbacks. They're great young men, good leaders as well. So that's just the general kind of introduction, I guess. And now we'll get into the nitty-gritty specifics. First of all, talking about Cade McNamara, as Gus Johnson would say. My Gus Johnson impression is atrocious. Cade is a junior as of this year. He is 210 of 327, completing 64.2% of his passes. He's thrown for 2,576 yards, about an average of 8 yards per pass, 15 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions, a 141.9 passer rating. I think that's the best passer rating a Michigan quarterback has had, except for Shea Patterson in the Harbaugh era as a starter. And thankfully, McNamara makes less mistakes and is a better leader, more disciplined guy than Shea Patterson is. No disrespect to Patterson, but, playing golf in the offseason and prioritizing that is something I would not want my starting QB to be doing. But McNamara, 6'1", 212 pounds. He is from Reno, Nevada, the most talented Nevada player in his class, which I think was the 2019 class. He was pursued by Notre Dame, Alabama, others as well. He's not an elite QB, again, as I've said, but he does have talent. He had a 75.4 QB rating according to ESPN and was the 24th best quarterback according to ESPN. As a result, in his game log, he only had 2 bad games, in my opinion, against Washington, where he was 7 of 15 for 44 yards, and against Georgia, where he was 11 of 19 for 106 yards and 2 picks. McNamara is not much of a runner. He's only had 26 rushing yards on the year for 0.7 yards per carry, which is it's kind of funny. But again, he doesn't run. He's had 1 rushing touchdown, a long rush of 20 yards, which I believe was an improvised scramble against Michigan State. And speaking of Michigan State, he had good games against opponents that Michigan has struggled to do well in the passing game in the past. He passed for almost 400 yards against Michigan State, which their secondary was bad, but for Michigan to do that is still, to me, impressive. He had 2 touchdowns and 1 pick at the end. McNamara also passed for 2 passing touchdowns against Maryland and Indiana, and had 3 passing touchdowns against Big Ten foe Penn State on the road against a defense, specifically a secondary, that is very good. So he has had great games. He has had 2 off games, but those 2 off games should not discredit from what he has done all year. And even in the Ohio State game, when he only threw for a pick and no TD pass, that stat is very deceiving, as he made a lot of critical throws and a lot of accurate throws, specifically deep and intermediate passes that helped Michigan win that game and get the first win against Ohio State. McNamara is, by many, assumed to be the backup entering the 2022 year. A lot of Michigan fans, Michigan fan pages on Instagram, and even analysts do believe it is McCarthy's job in a certain sense to lose entering the 2022 season. But don't underestimate McNamara. He's a hard worker, he's a good leader, and despite, again, not being elite, not being the generational talent, he does have talent to him. He can make NFL throws. He can read defenses, do things that Michigan QBs in the past haven't been able to do. And he should not be undervalued or belittled, especially when he got Michigan only its third 12-win season in school history. I love the kid. Every Michigan fan should. But you know who I also love as a Michigan fan? I also love JJ McCarthy. McCarthy being what many would call as the shiny object, the 5-star quarterback coming out of high school that everyone wants to start. Quote unquote, the future. A lot of analysts and Michigan fans have also labeled McCarthy, as I just said, the future of Michigan football, the guy that can get us to the playoff. Well, McNamara has done that, and a reference for a non-Big Ten school, Stetson Bennett did that with Georgia as well. So you don't need an elite or close to generational talented QB to get you to the playoff. But is it good to have one, and does it certainly help in the quest for a national title? Yes, it does. JJ McCarthy is 34 out of 59 for passing attempts, completing 57.6% of his passes, threw for 516 yards on the year, has nearly around 9 yards per pass, 5 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a 152.3 passer rating. McCarthy, unlike McNamara, also crossed over 100 rushing yards. He had 124 rushing yards on the season, an average of 4.6 yards per carry, and 2 rushing touchdowns with a long of 23. So McCarthy, again, has the legs that McNamara doesn't. He can run, does very well on read options and designed QB runs. Also against Georgia and even the Ohio State game, to a certain degree, you saw him have the ability to take hits, which is good and is a little shocking at the same time, seeing that he is 6'3", but not even 200 pounds, weighing in at 197. Nonetheless, that taller frame, he has the more athletic build. All around, he is the better athlete than McNamara. He throws deep balls very well. He can make plays, improvise, and unlike McNamara, he is obviously willing to take risks. There are moments where he will occasionally make a stupid decision or make a great play because he's willing to take risks, and he doesn't have to work within a box, which is good. But again, it comes with some risks. There is a value to having a quarterback like McNamara who has to work in a box. It has its limitations, but the limitations can also be to raise the floor at the same time as lowering the ceiling, if you know what I mean. McCarthy is the quarterback that has the higher ceiling. Again, he's shiny. Everyone wants him to start. But at the same time, he does have that lower floor. He is going to make more turnovers, but also throw more touchdowns and have more touchdowns if he starts. I can guarantee you that. There's going to be a wider range of outcomes if McCarthy starts compared to McNamara. And honestly, if McCarthy wins, same thing. If McNamara wins, I'm not going to be upset. I think that these two, whoever wins, straight up earned the job. I'm not going to doubt the staff again. The staff and Matt Weiss, specifically as the QB coach, know what they are doing. And Michigan fan or not, you should have faith in him as a QB coach to at least make a competent decision about who should start. McCarthy appeared in a few games. If you go out and check his game log, he appeared in the Western Michigan game, the Northern Illinois game, the Wisconsin game, the Nebraska game, against Northwestern, Michigan State, Indiana, Maryland, Ohio State, Iowa, and Georgia. His standout game was the Michigan State game for passing, at least, where he went 3 of 4 for 23 yards and a beautiful touchdown pass to I think it was Andrell Anthony. In the rushing game, though, he had 2 fumbles, and yeah, that's just kind of how it is. Other standout games in the passing game would be Western Michigan, which, now that I think about it, would probably be the number one, as he had 80 passing yards and a long touchdown of 69 to Dalen Baldwin. And overall, again, 124 rushing yards, 516 passing yards. He got significant playing time. Significant. Also against Georgia, he had 131 yards, 1 touchdown pass, and 24 rushing yards. So Michigan does have a bright future in McCarthy, but they also have consistency in McNamara. So 2 good options. You can't really go wrong with either. And that's all I have to say for this video. I'm going to leave it off on kind of a cliffhanger, because my opinion, while valuable, A, I don't really have one here, and B, another part of my head does, but I don't really want to mention it here. I want to see what you guys have to say in regards to these two. Who do you think should start at quarterback for the University of Michigan in 2022? McCarthy or McNamara? Tell me down below. That's all I have to say for this video. If you like this video, hit that like button, share this video around to other Michigan fans and college football fans, hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell, and comment your thoughts once again down below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys around. Bye-bye.